All right. Rumor has it I'm live. I hope I'm live. Let's verify that here. Let's see. Am I live? Yeah, I think so. Yo, yo. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey. Alright, can you guys, hear me at all? Trying to, be heard properly. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. So, yeah, I know, I'm back. I've been gone for, the longest time. So, I mean, sue me, right? So, let's see here. Okay. Yeah. So, where has CSJ been? Well, honestly, I've been green screen. So, done that. And can't hear you. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, I've the volume seal or nothing. So guys, this is kind of the first time I've really done it by myself, because the people that would typically help me set up these streams, they're not helping me set up the streams at this point. So I'm kind of going solo here and learning as I go, which is kind of cool. I think I got most of the system down, and with that being said, I think that means I could have everything on time, because I posted all the streaming stuff to the socials and at everyone of the Discord server and a whole bunch of stuff. So it's been yeah, wow. But yeah, so yeah, I've been working on a green screen. I just did season 19, episode 3, which is how to mature or reach integration or enlightenment for ESTPs. And that's on Patreon. I did that. And then yeah, and we've been building the studio, I built the studio. This is where CSJ has been. Built the studio, got that figured out. Yeah, built the studio, green screen, and been doing that. Why is the ESFP the duelist? Well, it's because they're constantly asking people to cite their sources, plus they're tactical in the moment, so they're kind of dueling with different ideas, and that's kind of how they get real strategic with their INTJ subconscious, to answer Mr. Joel Richardson's. So yeah, I've been busy, and guys, the next lecture to come out is this. Oof, that's not fun. Why is it doing that? How to social... Oh, stop doing that, please. How to social engineer. And you guessed it, folks, INTPs. That's the next lecture. I expect it to be on Patreon Early Access tomorrow and probably coming out the following day. How to social engineer INTPs. So this new setup, which is cool right now, it's basically going to give me the ability to rapidly print electronic whiteboards. So the old whiteboard is completely gone at this point. It's gone. We're not using it anymore, even though it's over there on the floor. And then we're just going to be doing electronic whiteboard from now on, and the green screen and everything. So we're going to be doing that. But yeah, this is where I've been. So I haven't been around, guys, but I am back, and I'm hoping to see you guys multiple times a week now with a schedule. Even though I was supposed to be streaming this at 5 Pacific today, that didn't happen, and it's because myself and Raka have been trying real hard to get the stream set up. So it's going to be what it is. So yes, give you a nice little preview for how to social engineer INTPs. We're going to be analyzing an INTP basically getting scammed. Yeah, scammed out of money. So it's going to be really interesting. Getting scammed out of money, but it's not just all about money. It's also going to be about romance and seduction. So it's going to be a pretty fun lecture, if I do say so myself. So Let's see if I can just clear the canvas here. There we go. Awesome. So folks, let's just get down to it. We go this over here. Oops. And let's see if I can actually get it all properly where it's supposed to be now. Right here. And zoom out 1 and here. And then let's see here. I'm just combobulated, trying to like make sure I'm not being terrible. There we go. And then let's see here. Super chats are open. Yeah, so if you guys want to super chat, go for it. I really hope that the YouTube channel figures out how to do that properly. So, but yeah, let's go down here. All right, no super chats or members yet. All good. So if you guys want to super chat, great. The format is the highest super chat is the one that I'm currently typing. Doesn't mean I'll always get to it. I think there was one that I'm supposed to get to, so let me actually pull up Discord, and I'll start with that one. So we'll do that straight away. So let's see here. Let's do that. The super chat channel, which I believe is right here. And okay, let's go. ENTP. Okay, xxxTentacion on the next stream. Okay, let's do that then. We're gonna do that one right now. xxxTentacion. Scion interview. And guys, help me out if like the sound is like not appropriate, because I'm trying to like figure that out properly. So there's a lot of people. This first interview after jail. Xtentacion. I don't know. Is that extension? No, it's not. And Ski Mask, the Slump God interview. Interview with Wanting to Die. Okay, we'll get that figured out. So we'll get to.
Coolest podcast in the world.
So if you guys can't hear it, just let me know. We'll get through there real quick. So, but I promised I'd actually start with this one, so we're going to start with this one. So, yes, I'm finally doing X. Thank you, Dare Dog. Thank you for pointing that out. So let's see if you guys can actually hear this. So
Today we're here with
xxxTentacion.
See, I'm making you say your own name because I've been looking at it online for the past few months, and I didn't really know how to say it. But hey, man, it's nice to have you in the studio.
Hey, could you folks in the audience tell if you can hear this well enough? I hope so. A filter between audio and your mic. I actually do have a filter like right here. So, but sure, anything that you guys can do, that'd be great. It's a little quiet. Sounds good. Okay. I might be a little quiet in comparison, so. But anyway, we'll get through this.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
And I guess you should, well, we got No Jumper alumni Craig Zen over here on the left. Maybe you should introduce your homie.
All right, we got Craig Zen, we got Lil Weefy, Lil Buddha Wi-Fi, you feel me? We got Lil Gabe, Young Dirty Dick on the beat, you feel me? We got Skeet Mask, the Slunk Guy, we got Bruno Dick on Bruno Dicker down in the corner, you feel me? And then we got Adam from No Jumper.
Adam from No Jumper. What's poppin'?
Yeah.
Yeah, we out here. Yeah, so I guess we should start with the basic information. Where are you from?
I am from, all right, so I got to get in depth. So, all right, how I put it? I was raised borderline like Pompano, but I was born in Plantation Hospital, raised around Pompano area, raised around North Lauderdale and Broward. Like, so Broward County was like where I grew up. So then after a while, like, I got kicked out of like a lot of schools. So I ended up going to like Deepside or Lauderhill.
Okay.
And then I lived throughout like Lauderhill for like a lot of my life after I got arrested.
So what kind of environment is he in? And for people who don't know, he's talking about Florida.
Lauderhill is like the hood. Lauderhill is like niggas call it four-way. Like, throw a four-way like this. Like,
well, what's this mean?
It's the four-way, like, it's like
four-way.
Yeah, four-way, the block.
Deep side.
From the, yeah, deep side. From the block. Like, type shit like.
Clearly, I'm out of the loop
Yeah,
on this.
yeah. It's just Broward shit, like.
Yeah.
Like, bro.
How old are you?
I'm I don't say my age.
You don't like to say it?
Yeah, I don't say much about myself because like I feel like everybody tries to judge me as far as knowledge-wise. I feel like the younger you are, or however you say you are, like niggas feel like they have something over you. Feel me? Like I don't let anybody little bro me at that.
Okay.
So I just don't like to speak about my age because people trying to.
He's like, I don't allow anyone to little bro me like that. It's kind of an FITE approach when he makes a statement like that. So I'm going to put down a mark for that here. And then xxxTentacion. Let's see. That. So, I don't know how to turn it up, Lev. That's my issue here. So, as much as I can within this. Is the sound me, or is the sound the actual YouTube that I'm playing for this interview? What's the lower part? So, yeah, it does kind of seem a bit informative as well. So I'm going to put that there. I'm really thinking informative responding movement, but we'll go in that direction. So thank you for Carl Karch for pointing that out. He seems like a background type, but remember, starter types have background subconscious, so they can also switch between the two of them. So yeah. All right, cool. Let's keep going.
Use my age to determine my knowledge.
Okay. Lil bro you. I hear a lot of people say that terminology these days.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he's trying to lil bro me.
Yeah.
You ever had this happen to you?
Nah, cause like I just fade niggas.
Why?
Shit.
What the fuck was wrong? Was it when Paul?
YouTube sound itself, like depending on the videos that have been uploaded, it kind of gets like a little changed differently and whatnot. So. Minor fan noise overlapping with your voice. Fair enough.
No doubt it's 135 The Beat. I'm K Fox, and you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I need you to pronounce your name, please.
Yo, alright. xxxTentacion.
Okay. So what do you want me to call you?
Just call me X. X or Young Dagger Dick.
Young? You want me to call you Young Dagger Dick?
Young Dagger Dick.
You want me to say and call you Young Dagger Dick?
Young Dagger Dick.
I don't think I'm gonna do that. I will call you X. What does that mean?
Well, actually, together Temptation because I feel that's what my life revolves around.
But why 3 X's?
I don't really know, to be honest. Like, it's just came to me, I guess.
Okay. And where did you think of this name? Like you just said.
I was in boot camp, and I used to jack off a lot. Bro, I'm talking about I was watching Blue movie after Blue movie, and like, nigga, my grandma wouldn't let me use the bathroom no more.
Wow. So you were getting off in your grandma's house?
In my grandma's bathroom.
Just a little background. The reason we're typing this guy is because someone super chatted last time, and like I promised I'd do it. That's why we're gonna get through them real quick before we move on to the next one. For those that've been asking.
Oh my God! And that's
not the grandma.
Grandma, do you know this? My goodness. My Lord. So you come up with this name. I'm going to call you X, but it's xxxTentacion. Are you?
I'll stop talking about the name.
Okay. But why the casket? That seems so morbid.
Because I got dead tattooed on my hand. I feel like I'm dead.
But you're not.
I'm alive, but I'm dead.
Why do you say that? You feel like there's a part of you that died, or?
Yeah.
Like which part would that be?
I mean, as far as, I have a lot of compassion for the things that I do in my life, but as far as, it's like everything that goes on around me, I feel like I've become very pessimistic.
Yeah, it's kind of like, very, kind of seemed like a form of initiating movement, but he's very responding in this particular interview, so can go in that direction, for sure.
Okay.
Like what? Like what have you seen? Like take us into your life, your journey.
My current situation is that I spent 9 months in jail by myself for time, like away from my people I love. But like I was stuck because I fell in love with the wrong person. And like even like it was a fucked up situation. I fell in love with the wrong person. I tried to give them the world, and I don't want to blame it on the career. It may just be that I'm stupid. It may just be for my negligence karma catching me.
Why you got locked up, or do you?
Really quiet? Okay. We have drop frames. Let me check. Yeah, we did. Looks like it's back up.
Initially, the charges that were pending against me, they're not true. The fucked up part is not true. I'm on probation for it, so I can't say too much because they violate me whenever they want. I don't want to go to prison. But I mean, to be very descriptive as to the situation that the situation of the case, I mean, they had no evidence from the very beginning, so I was sitting on no evidence. Just due to the fact that I violated pretrial, which is income monitor, pretrial release, it made everything
Violated pretrial, definitely pragmatic, very pragmatic on that. Hasn't really said anything abstract at all, very concrete, and he's talking about what people are getting out of it. So this guy is definitely an SP, for sure. Definitely informative in ESP as an SFP. So we're looking at, because he's informative, that would mean he is SFP NTJ Quadra, and this is basically between ESFP and ISFP, basically, between those two types. Definitely got the TEFI thing going on, as we've seen so far, and definitely SE plus NI. So just give you like a kind of a background on that. So kind of seems a little responding, but then he keeps initiating initial points. So basically, we just need to identify interaction style, and then we can move on to the next one. So he does look a little ISFP. I'm kind of leaning more towards that direction, but I want to verify some more.
Sometimes harder for me. And my ex knew that, and she fucked me over on purpose. Like, I always told her, like, yo, I can't get into no shit. You know what I'm saying? Or else I might be going back for life. I have PBO charges.
PBO?
PBO means punishable by life.
Okay.
Therefore, like, if you violate on a PBO probation, they can give you whatever the fuck you want to. If you're found guilty on that violation. So if I so much as simply drive down the street with a suspended license, or if they really want to fuck me over, like get a speeding ticket, you know what I'm saying? Like 18 with a baby, and I mean her nigga not paying her no mind, she ain't have nobody around, you feel me? So she was just hustling, trying to get out of the mud. She was passing me hand to hand and shit. So it was like. So
you at grandma's house? You would, yeah.
Initially, it wasn't even just that. Like she, like to friends and shit. You know what I'm saying? Our babysitters and.
Super outcome focused. He keeps talking about like the result of like, hey, if I do this, then this is gonna happen. If I do this, then that's gonna happen. If I do this, then that's gonna happen. And it's very controlled. It's very outcome focused. He's not really so much movement, because he would talk about process more, but it's more like, hey, you know, this is the outcome, this is the outcome, this is the outcome. So he's informative, responding control. Ergo, xxxTentacion is an ISFP, and we can move on from this one. So thank you all for your patience. Keep me informed with the sound. I'll try to turn it up a little bit, given that some of these videos, their volume's a little bit different. So we're going to move on to the highest super chat right now. Just wanted to get that out of the way, because we had someone that was unhappy from the last time. So trying to make sure that I accommodated them. So awesome. And moving down here. Okay, cool. So Adam Neely it is. Okay, so we have Mr. Rogers, Adam Neely, and Graham Stephan. So top one right now is Adam Neely, so we're going to do Adam Neely now. And apparently people are like having a hard time between ENTP or INTP, so that sounds good to me. I'm down for an NT, so let's do us some Adam Neely for sure. Okay, so all right. Adam Neely interview. Cool. Adam Neely, smartest. Adam Neely. If you guys got a specific link, by all means, put me in that direction. So, but I'm going to use this interview here.
So I'm talking today with Adam Neely, who is certainly one of the most well-known music YouTubers on the planet. And
music YouTuber, awesome.
Extremely impressive following on YouTube and on social media in general. And what I really like about what you're doing, Adam, is that you're reaching a very large audience, and without pandering, without dumbing down, but presenting things that can often be quite.
Okay, just check it in.
Complex ideas in a way that's both entertaining and accessible and very communicative. So First, I'd like to just congratulate you on the phenomenal success of your channel, which is just amazing by any standard. And maybe
skipping ahead.
Just
full time. I had never really thought of that. This is something that like is an actual job. It's a career. It's a way of actually, it's a way of teaching now. And I thought that's really cool. Maybe there's something in this. And I was watching at the time a lot of this channel called PBS Idea Channel, which is this media literacy and popular culture and philosophy channel. It doesn't exist anymore. I mean, all the videos still exist, but I was watching a lot of that, and I was like, man, this is so cool. We're dealing with Descartes. We're dealing with like Sartre. We're dealing with all these like philosophers, but like applying it for, popular culture. And I thought that was really...
Okay, he's being really systematic right now. That was very systematic. Basically talking about how to take all these different sources like Sartre, etc., and then applying them directly to music. He's actually speaking about that in a systematic way. He's taking, because remember, folks, how you tell the difference between systematic versus interest. Systematic is how people who are trying to do find the best way to do something. That's a systematic person, right? Whereas an interest-based person is more like they don't care about the best way of doing something. They care about getting theirs, or that person getting theirs, and trying to create a win-win situation, right? So he's being very systematic with this approach so far. I'm also going to put down abstract as well so far that we can see. So yeah, let's get back to it.
Really cool, and it was a very, very popular channel. I was like, well, why isn't there anything like that for music? There really wasn't anything like that for music at the time. There wasn't like a sort of, science or media literacy equivalent, all these like channels like Vsauce, if we're talking about like science popularizers like Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku, deal with very advanced subjects in science. And I thought it would be cool to like try my hand at doing that for music. I, of course, have no credentials besides the fact that I'm a musician and I have a camera. So there was that like sort of barrier to actually learn how to do that.
Talking about learning how to do something, he's not really valuing credentials at all. He's being very factual, so I'm going to put him down as a TIFE user for sure. And he's being very informative. I also think he's initiating in movement. So far, a starter type, as near as I can tell. But we're going to verify that probably with another video to see if he's actually more control. But he keeps talking about process. He's not really talking about outcomes. He's just like, here's how I arrived to where I am, and here's the process that I was developing to get to this point. He wasn't talking about, I had this specific outcome, and this is what I did to get there. It's more of, this is just the outcome that I happened to arrive at, right? Which is a more movement approach, right? Which is why he's down for movement right now, and I haven't really seen anything outcome focused, which would be more control point of view.
But for the past couple of years, I've been like steadily getting better at it. I don't think I'm there yet. I think I stumbled upon something pretty popular, but at the same.
Stumbled upon something that's pretty popular. Stumbling upon things. That's how movement types work. So that's another point for movement for sure. And he keeps initiating additional points. And informing. So he's definitely a starter type. Informative, initiating movement. Abstract, systematic. When you're informative, initiating movement, just that alone would qualify him as ENTP. Just what we have on the board so far automatically qualifies him as ENTP, but let's verify a little bit more.
At the same time, I still want to keep like honing my craft at, delivering these ideas. So that's kind of my journey. Like, started with YouTube channel back in 2006, and eventually thought I would want to become.
Okay, that's an SINE statement. He's also dressed like an SI user. You can usually tell an SI user with their dress based like if they're using monochromatic colors, blacks, grays, navy blues, but it's all very similar. I mean, look at how I dress, and I'm an ENTP, right? He's more of, he's kind of got the same vibe going on. He's dressing similarly to an ENTP, really focusing on a monochromatic look, which is typical of an introverted sensor because they do it with what makes them comfortable, etc. So it's just something to be aware of on that side.
Like the Neil deGrasse Tyson of music at some point. That's kind of like my end goal,
So
my end goal is to be the Neil deGrasse Tyson of music at some point. It's not like he has a specific date in mind and whatnot. That's another movement statement. While he is speaking of an outcome or a goal does not necessarily mean outcome focused. He's just like, I'll arrive there eventually, right? Which is very movement approach instead of like control, which is like, it's more a controlled approach. I'm going to arrive there at this time, at this day, and this is my plan to do it, basically. That's more outcome focused. So again, movement, still abstract. And because he seems like he's breaking the rules or breaking the mold with how he's approaching music, definitely going to be pragmatic as a result of that. So we automatically know that he's an NT. We know he's the starter NT. So just off of interaction styles and temperaments alone, we know he's a TIFE user because he's not talking about his self-importance whatsoever. We know he's an SI user. Ergo, Adam Neely is an ENTP. So there you have it, folks. Adam Neely is an ENTP, and we can move on to the next one. So very good for all those of you in the audience that were like, this guy is obviously an INTP. Nope. No, he is not. Remember, folks, with the super chats, the highest super chat is the one that we type next. And if the stream ends before then, well, then you're SOL. So keep that in mind. I'm going to be trying to going for around about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. Elapsed time is 26 minutes. So as your super chats come in, the higher they are, the more likely they will be chosen to be typed. Just keep that in mind, folks. Keep that in mind. All right, cool. So we did Adam Neely. So next we have is Mr. Rogers with Charlie Rose. We're going to be doing that next. So, yeah. We did xxxTentacion, X-Ray. It was the first person we typed, and we typed them as an ISFP. Then we just finished doing Adam Neely. So now we're going to do Mr. Rogers, and Mr. Rogers will be in green because he sure likes those green sweaters. Why do I think he's an INFP? I mean, there's a good chance of that, so we'll see how that goes. So, INFP, let's see, Mr. Rogers, Charlie Rose. Thank you for giving me the specific interview. Remembering Mr. Rogers on Charlie Rose. Okay.
Continuing our visit with some of the most interesting people in Pittsburgh, I take note of something of value that resides within them. You know, I have a little plaque beside my chair upstairs in the office that says, "What is essential is invisible to the eye."
Oh my gosh. Did I just get like INFP triggered right there? I mean, like, this guy is such an obvious INFP. Should I just like write INFP and just be like done with it? You know what I'm saying? Like let's verify, but my initial inclination is definitely INFP. So control oriented, very control. Seems responding for sure and informative. So I'm informative responding controls this guy's interaction style, hands down. But let's keep going.
That may sound like something strange for somebody who works in television, but the older I get, the more important I know that is. Why is it important? Because what we see is rarely what...
Wow, is this guy like literally a clone of Alan Watts? You know, I mean, I am like getting Alan... This is the second coming of Alan Watts, right, is Mr. Rogers, right? So, definitely abstract, holy smokes, and definitely TEFI. He's talking about how this thing is so important, and definitely I'm going to say SINE because he's about to talk about his duty, why it's his duty to do this. So let's listen a little bit more.
Is essential. What's behind your face is what's essential. We've had a friend who was one of the highest-ranking African-American women.
Highest-ranking African-American women. If I didn't hear a TEFI statement there talking about somebody's rank and how high they ranked, I don't know what is. That's an FITE statement. There you go. As FITE as you can get, for sure. So let's keep going.
Executives in Pittsburgh who had supposedly everything. And she committed suicide a week or so ago. And people have been thinking, what was it?
And people have been thinking, what was it? Yet another TE statement. Thank you for all the TE, good sir.
What was it that we didn't know about our friend?
That we didn't know about our friend, TE.
And there are times that people just
He is a
can't
control
share
type.
what is essential within them. What do you think?
Because there are times that people can't share what is the essential thing that is within them. He's talking about people not having an opinion or a voice to speak, which is basically every INFP's nightmare, that their valuable opinion is so squelched by everybody else, right? This is literally how INFPs feel, TE inferior, that their opinion is not valuable. If you're an INFP and you're watching this, you want to make sure your opinion is actually valuable, then spend some time reading. Read, and read nonfiction. Because the more you read, the more valuable your opinion is, the more people will listen to it, the more valuable your voice is, and then you can actually help other people who don't have a voice and become their voice, right? That's basically what INFPs do. That's what you should be doing. That is your duty to do, and that's what Mr. Rogers is doing right now. Giving this woman who committed suicide a voice. That's very powerful, and he's very affiliative while doing it, right? So we're going to mark him down for affiliative. He's affiliative, he's abstract, informative responding, control. So that's automatically INFP. He's TEFI for sure. And based on what we have, he is an INFP. So yeah, Mr. L. Rogers is an INFP, folks. That's fantastic. We're going to be moving on to the next highest super chat in the list. Awesome. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so let's go. Okay. Make sure you send it to my Frankie Overwood account, Aiden, please. Okay, so we got Adam Neely's done, Mr. Rogers is done. Next one is Aiden Washness, which is Wren. So let's get Mr. Aiden up here. Let's take a look. And Aiden sent it to the right account. Thank you, sir. And Wren at Corridor Digital. Got it. I got it, Mr. Aiden. Thank you for being so helpful. And we're going to do this here. We're going to do Wren. And I'm going to use my fluffy unicorn unicorn way of doing it here, I guess, because that's what we do. And Control V and enter.
Visual effects look so much more real when you are able to combine it with real life elements, you know? Like being able to do a real explosion and then comp in fake explosions around it, they suddenly look way more real because the real explosion is carrying so much weight.
If you spend any amount of time online, then you more than likely have already seen a video by Corridor Digital, because their videos tend to get shared like crazy on social media. But basically, they're a YouTube channel.
Nice. We recently had a card-throwing expert come by and teach us how to throw cards, and he left us with these foam boards to continue practicing, but this one we're just keeping as a trophy, because all of these that he did, he was throwing them from up there on the banister across the room.
Okay, that guy is super initiating. Like, holy smokes. It's like, hey, look at this board, and okay, hey, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. You know what I'm saying? Super initiating, super movement, for sure. Informative initiating movement. The guy's a freaking starter type. Like, hands down, straight up. So let's see how that goes. Yeah. What, an extrovert? Apparently, like, someone's car alarm just went off outside. I wonder if you folks can hear that. So let's keep going.
Room to the wall right here, just like no. We have a vlog channel. We put out a new video every other day on the Sam and Nico channel, and the guys who work on that work right here. So they do all the shooting and all the editing while everyone.
So the guys that do that work right here, and so they do all the video. They all do all the editing. They do all the shooting. That's what they do. They do. SENI. Oh my gosh, they are doing something. SENI. This guy's an SENI user. Does this mean he's an ESFP? There's a good chance of that. Let's find out.
Everyone else kind of just, you know, is on camera, whether we're doing something with work related to the Corridor channel or, you know, just antics like throwing cards at a wall.
Yeah.
You know, and so they'll shoot it all, they'll edit it all. They like to have their corner here.
Right.
And of course, there's Nerf guns for any time someone comes by wanting to battle. You got to be prepared. This is Nico's desk. He doesn't really use it that much. He kind of mostly works in the back room on a laptop. This is my workstation. So.
All right, so it's just so much SE. Like I can't. Like the SE is like he's just super hyped, super pumped. SE, for sure. So very concrete. He's only talking about what's real. He hasn't made any what-if statements that we can see, as near as I can tell. And I'm gonna say. Not sure between systematic or interest so far. Let's keep going for sure.
So this is where I do all like the rendering and stuff. I've got a computer here with 4 GTX 1080 cards in it.
What?
Because I use Octane Render. I'm sorry, I do not use Blender.
Oh my gosh, so initiating. Oh my gosh, I don't use Blender, you know, and I'm just gonna keep informing you until your face melts, you know, because I'm informed initiating movement. And I'm like, SE, like 50 seconds in, like.
Is there many late nights spent at these desks?
Sometimes. Not as much anymore. We've gotten a lot better at being able to manage our time effectively, so we're not having to do all-nighters. Wow. One time, so I was doing a video called Mario Skate, and we were leading up to the release of it, and I was going to be gone for an entire week. So I had to get this thing done before I left, and so I finished that video with 4 all-nighters in a row. I think I got maybe about 5 or 6 hours of sleep over the course of 5 days.
Whoa.
It was brutal. I pretty much spent the entire next week sleeping. So we've just kind of accumulated them over the years. So we did a thing with EA called The Division. It was a big video game that was released, and we did like a full-on 40-minute film for it. That you can fill them with the gas that fires the BB. But yeah, so like the magazine here, you could fill it with this gas, which will fire the BBs, but it'll also make this chamber here like blow back like this. Which is great when you're doing a short film using fake guns, because you're going to put a fake muzzle flash over it anyway.
Okay, that was an FITE statement saying, you know, like he made a value judgment in terms of like, you know, how it's better for like the video, etc. But there's really no point in stating any further because it's also very pragmatic, just kind of independently going about doing it. I mean, if you're running around with a skateboard with digitizing and giant, you know, turtle shells falling around, it's very creative, very SP. This guy's an artisan, so, and we know it's informative, initiating movement. So as a result, Mr. Wren is an ESFP for you, Mr. Aiden. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the next one. Oops, let's not do that. Let's not do that at all. I can use my eraser appropriately in this time. So, cool. Is the sound doing a little bit better? I'm having to adjust the sound up and down on the YouTube video, so the sound on the YouTube video may not be coming through. If you guys need me to make it a little bit louder, I'll try without blasting my ears. Just give me a heads up, and we'll take a look on that. Okay, so Aiden Washniz did that. So we have a tie between Graham, Stephan, and Jacob Collier, between Doomsicle and Daniel Benny. But because Doomsicle got it in first, I guess we're going to do Graham Stephan next, unless anyone wants to update their super chat. But we got Graham Stephan next, so let's check that out. Thank you for saying the sound is good. I really appreciate it, guys. Again, this is like the first time I'm doing this by myself for real, like managing everything from the lighting to like literally everything. First time doing it by myself. So I'm kind of like, you know, being an ENTP like with SI Inferior, and I'm doing it solo and it's my first time. So SI Inferior is like really freaked out right now. So I appreciate the positive feedback very much. So, okay, and let's go in here. Get Mr. Graham. I hope this is the correct Graham Stephan, because I have no idea. Interview. Okay, so becoming a millionaire at 26, Graham Stephan. Okay, I think that's got to be the guy. So let's check it out.
We are recording live.
We're recording live.
Ben, Graham is a big-time YouTube real estate motivational guy, right?
Thank you.
He knows a lot about money. He knows a lot about investing. He knows a lot about real estate, just like you, except he's about less than half your age. And he weighs about 1/10 of what you weigh.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on today, Graham.
Thank you. That was the best introduction I think I've ever received.
So I watched a ton of your videos last night. You're super inspirational. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about what I picked up the most was the IRA, the Vanguard IRA stuff that you're doing.
Videos.
Was it really?
Yeah, really.
Super interesting. I read a little bit
barely
about
hear
that in a Tony Robbins book.
Really?
That's how I originally learned
Tony
about
Robbins
it.
has been getting bigger into finance lately.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think
Yeah.
a Roth IRA is something that most people should really do. They just don't know anything about it.
A Roth IRA.
Roth IRA.
And that means you pay tax at the end or the beginning?
Beginning.
Okay. Ben, do you have a Roth IRA?
No.
No? Why not?
You know, all of those types of vehicles are...
A little bit closer.
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 I mean...
When you started?
18.
18.
Just when I turned 18.
Wow.
And that was April in 2008.
Like, if I was gonna like be like a visual typing guy, the guy looks like an ENTJ to me. He just seems like an ENTJ. Reminds me of my former ENTJ boss, who like flying around the world, shooting movies and very artistic, ISFP focused ENTJ. Kind of seems what this guy might be. Seems a little ISFP focused if he is an ENTJ. So let's find out.
So I started right as the market had peaked and was starting to go down. And that's when I jumped in.
Wow. And how did you start, or how did you transition into making YouTube videos and like sharing your knowledge of money and finance?
Honestly, that was something I've wanted to do for quite some time. I just never had the courage to do it. I really believe, like, who is going to watch me? Who would care what I had to...
Who's gonna watch me? Who's gonna care? Oh my gosh, I'm an extroverted censor. I gotta give people a good experience when I'm experimenting with financial things. Who says that? Oh wait, ENTJs say that. Ha! Yeah, he's an SENI user for sure. And we're gonna put Mark down there. Let's see if the girls talks a little bit more.
To say. And I said that for years. Like, I wanted to make YouTube videos back in 2011 because I had watched YouTube as my TV since like 2010. And I had seen all of these channels come up from nothing, thinking like, this is something I really want to do, and I see the potential in doing this.
I see what other people are doing. I want to do it too. That's an SENI statement. And he's very direct, and he's initiating, and he's control. His interaction style is direct, initiating, control. Very outcome focused. He's initiated 2 points in the last paragraph that he said that was outside of what the question he was asked, and he's being very direct. He's not really informing. It's short and to the point, and having that commanding presence.
Yeah.
And after 3-4 years of telling myself that, like, no one would watch me, I posted a random video about how I got started selling real estate. I filmed that at an open house that was slow that day, and I posted it on YouTube, not thinking anything of.
I'm actually going to verify control versus movement, though, so maybe if I could find another video with him. So we're going to verify that, so don't worry.
Of it, but I had such a good time doing that
because I'll definitely verify against INTJ, for sure. We can do that.
I figured, well, let me just make another one. And after that, I started getting a few subscribers, maybe got like 2 or 3 subscribers at the time. And I kept posting videos.
Okay, talking about subscribers, definitely a TEFI statement. So he's definitely SFP NTJ Quadra, for sure. SFP NTJ Quadra, we've identified as Quadra.
So I started getting, finally starting to get some sort of views. And I remember when my videos would hit like 100 views a video, and to me that was like the biggest deal in the world, that like 100 people on the planet saw my video. And I kept posting, and then randomly, about 3 months into it, I had one of my videos just take off, and YouTube started recommending that video on the homepage of YouTube for people that were searching for real estate. And that video went from like, I think it was at maybe 1,000 views at the time, maybe 2,000 views, all the way to like 300,000.
Talking about views, anytime you're talking about views or statistics like that, it's all extroverted thinking. And he's also talking about that video as if that video is a totem of memory attached to it as well, which is a TE plus FI thing. It's also SINE. All more than enough evidence that he's definitely SFP and TJ Quadra. I'm not going to do cognitive axis analysis at this point. Let's focus now on temperament and also on interaction styles. Temperament-wise, he said he started when things started to go down for the economy during the recession. So that's a very pragmatic point of view, very independent point of view. It's not what people would say is the right thing, the affiliative folks, especially when you're looking at money and investors, especially from like STJ, NFP Quadra, which are typically the safest financial minds. they're the ones that think that the stock market is the end-all be-all in a lot of cases, and with how they handle their investments. They're very traditional in that regard, but he's not. And they're traditional because they're playing it safe, and it's like the doing the right thing from a financial point of view, which he's not doing, basically. So he's pragmatic as a result. So let's keep going. So pragmatic, SFP, NTJ Quadra, well, they're all pragmatic anyway, so that doesn't really mean much in terms of seeing where he is on the type grid.
1,000 views in about a week, and that took me from, I don't know, 500 subscribers to 32,000 within about a month and a half. And then I posted another video on how I make rental income, like passive income, and that took me from 32 to 50,000 subscribers. And that was enough to really get my initial wave on YouTube. And then at that point, I was like, holy crap, like now I'm actually making money by doing this with the ad revenue, and now I see the potential. And so I just continue doing that, and now that income has just skyrocketed. I mean, now it's almost 100 times to what I was making back then. It's just insane.
And your first video, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were talking about how you became a millionaire.
I'm going to look at another Graham Stephan interview right now, just for verification purposes. I want to see him interacting with somebody else. So let's see. To someone else. Let's try, let's see this one.
Hello? Come on in. Come on in. How's it going? Welcome. Welcome to my humble abode.
Why do you have a picture of me in your house?
Picture of my girlfriend here.
Why is there a picture of me in your house?
This is back when she was skinny.
I think I'm gonna ask you questions because this is my show.
Okay, ask me.
Okay, so this is 73 questions with walk. Okay. So can you give us a tour of your kitchen?
Yeah, let me show you my kitchen.
Yeah, definitely control oriented. Just look how he walks around. Still direct, so he's obviously direct. So he's not an informative. So he's not an SFP. So he's an NTJ. So we know for a fact this guy is definitely NTJ. So. For sure, based on the Quadra. So let's just go in again so we can get some more.
It's pretty legit looking. Where do you normally read?
It's right there, right here on my couch.
Wow, how many inches is that?
That's what she said. It's always.
Wow, that may actually be an argument for ESFP subconscious. Are we looking at an INTJ right now? Let's watch some more. This is cool.
It's a very common question I get asked all the time.
Okay, can you show us what's the view behind the window?
I don't know,
it's pretty dark outside.
A lot of darkness out there.
What is outside? What is the house out there?
I don't know. Coming in, you can come in this way, or you can come in that way. So it's very, very high-end. I think at one point this used to be.
You can come in this way, you can come in that way. Talking about the options and choices, but it's a systematic methodology. So we already know he's basically an NT anyway. So pragmatic, systematic automatically means NT, so we just need to look to verify his interaction style. Is he direct responding movement, or is he direct initiating control? Because he seems like he might be cognitive transitioning into ESFP mode for initiating. So I could actually be wrong there. So let's take a big focus on his interaction style for sure. Bad jokes. Yeah, I could argue both right now, but let's watch a little bit more. Kind of seems like a little bit. I don't know. I could do ISFP from like an artistic standpoint, but let's see.
This must have been 2 bedrooms at one point that they expanded into.
What is behind that door?
I think it's a closet. Yeah, it's a closet.
Wow.
They got some like insect repellents down here and stuff like that.
Do you like cockroaches?
Look at that shot right there. Look at the art that's in his house, right? That's way better. That's more indicative of like an ISFP subconscious.
Wow,
This is a fancy flower.
Yeah, I planted that myself. And then we got, I don't know what this is. Some pillows back here.
Is there a light in here?
You can subscribe. Smash that like button. Subscribe to Victoria. I feel like, yeah, you should check out my YouTube channel.
So Graham, why did you decide to pick real estate?
Just lucked myself into it, really.
Really?
Yeah.
And
just
you like
fell
it?
into it. I loved it.
How did you find out about it?
How did I find out about it? You know,
super like behind the scenes mode there. Very control, for sure. So yeah, he's an ENTJ. Just based on that reaction, I maintain direct initiating control. It's got that behind the scenes cognitive transition there. So yeah. Graham Stephan is an ENTJ, which I guess makes sense because statistically they are the most economically successful of all of the types, typically. But again, that's just stereotypical. We don't exactly have concrete numbers on that because our system for determining that is not out yet, but we will get it out there. So going to be looking at some additional, we're looking at the next super chat in the list here. So, okay. He is a bit controlling, isn't he? Okay, so we have Jacob Collier now. Do Jacob Collier. And I'm actually going to go ahead and close the super chats since we may as well. So let's see here. And then, yeah, there we go. Let's just close it because we're coming to the end of our show anyway, and I don't want to get stuck here. So, and let's move on to the next one, which I believe is Mr. Collier. Jacob Collier. Jacob Collier. We haven't done Jacob Collier yet. So let's do Jacob Collier. Don't forget, folks, you go to csjoseph.life to see what we've actually, like who we've typed in the past, etc. So, Jacob Collier, interview part 1. Okay, sure, fair enough. Let's do that.
Are we rolling? Hit me. So, number 1, can you tell us more about the super, ultra, hyper, mega, meta Lydian scale and how you would use it in your improvisation?
Well, let me tell you right now. The way that the circle of fifths kind of, yeah, I guess the circle of fifths makes music very vivid to me in terms of understanding the bright and the dark side. So the bright side being, if you start on C and go C, G, D, A, E, you know, that's like that's brightening, and then C, F, B.
Like, that guy is like movement AF. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, that's like, holy smokes. And like, that's also insanely abstract. Like, wow. That's like, I love the abstraction here for sure. Let's see here. So Jacob Collier. Yeah, movement and abstract. We got that right off the bat. Kind of seems he might be factual. Seems like he's doing TIFE because he's just explaining. He's not really going through like self-importance at all. So let's verify that.
E flat, E flat, A flat. That's darkening, and you can approach a key center from either side. Like a plagal cadence is very reassuring. It's like hugging the key, and then a perfect cadence is like arriving in a key. And so there are different ways of feeling about the brightness and the darkness of things. But yeah, the super, ultra, hyper, mega, meta Lydian. I don't know if I call it a scale, but it's like a sound. The idea of Lydian not stopping it at the root when you rise, like do, you know?
Yeah.
This thing, for me, it's just like that's how Lydian sounds. That's Lydian at its most comfortable. I'm not sure George Russell would agree with me, by the way, but I think that that as a sound, that's like that's optimum brightness, and then
So he cited a source, which typically I would say is a TE thing, but he's been speaking in facts the entire time. He's not really talking about numbers, actually. And he definitely seems systematic because he's explaining the best way of doing something. So he's definitely systematic and abstract, for sure. He did make one TE statement, but he made a series of TI statements. And he's not talking about what other people are doing. He's talking about what he himself is doing. But let's jump around to like the other, low forward in a different interview. Let's do part 3.
someone would have an agenda and then they'd say something different. And just having always been fairly like emotionally curious, I was intrigued by that. When I was 12 years old, I played a role in an opera by Benjamin Britten called The Turn of the Screw, which I don't know if you know it, but it's just like amazing. It's really important music to me because I was so young when I internalized it and memorized it. But my character, which is the character of the son or the boy in the novel, who's called Miles. Miles is essentially it's a ghost story. So Miles is possessed by the ghost of the dead gardener, and then dies at the end. I was in 3 separate productions of this opera, because it's one of those operas that you do as a boy treble, like when you have a high voice as a boy. And so I did 3, and the second production was directed by this guy called Tim Carroll, who was an extraordinarily strong figure for me growing up, because of this thing he did when we were rehearsing. So a number of unusual things about this production. One is that the whole stage was made out of ice and black felt only. There were no other props other than the people. More importantly, I guess, he made every member of the cast.
That was an SE statement. He's talking about this other person. He's talking about how it was made. That was plenty of SE and I. So there's a good chance, like, he might actually. Some people are saying INFJ. We're gonna verify against INFJ for sure.
Sit on chairs, and we went through the score, and we didn't get up off our chairs to start organising where to be on stage and how to communicate the ideas until I think it was the day or 2 days before the dress rehearsal of the production. This is very uncommon. I mean, normally a couple of weeks in, people are moving around and memorising where to be and how to deliver the lines.
This is very uncommon. People are moving around, they're memorizing the lines. It's more SE, lots of SE. That's also TIFE, very movement. And I gotta say, while he's informing, he seems like he's like being direct at the same time. So he might be cognitive transition into like ENFP, or cognitive focused into ENFP, but we'll see if he is actually. But he kind of does seem pretty direct, even though he's so much volume of words is coming out. But direct responding movement can do that, right? So there's a chance he is speaking about systematic, but let's see. Now, granted, there he doesn't. He's triple interest. The thing about INFJs are triple interest, so they're very motivated. This is what they're getting out of it. So I'm gonna have to really spend some time verifying here.
Instead, what he made us do is he asked us to go through the whole opera, and for each line that we sang, he asked us to extract a verb. So the verb that was kind of base 1, what's implied here? What's the implication? What would be the expected intention of that? So, for example, there's one line that I sing.
What would be the expected intention of that? That's a very affiliative statement. Hey, beautiful. Oh, thank you. I'm almost finished. We're on like the second to last guy. So. Yes, I do. That was Railgun. All right, so we have where did I leave off there? That was actually an affiliative statement. So I'm going to put one down for affiliative. So let's see. So they might be interest based. We're gonna confirm against that for sure. Definitely more SENI and very TIFE for sure. He's a STP NFJ Quadra just off of cognitive analysis, cognitive axis analysis alone. So, and okay, let's get back to it.
Towards the end, where my governess, who's the sort of the good or pure innocent character who's trying to work out what's going on with me, who's all crinkled up with darkness and stuff, she comes in to see me in my bedroom, and I'm holding a candle, and the candle goes out. And she says, "Oh, the candle's out," and then I sing, "'Twas I who blew it, dear." This boy, I didn't blow the candle. The candle went out of his own accord because Peter Quint, the dead gardener, blew it. So he made us sit down and consider this line, and I remember writing, terrify or something, terrify, the verb would be to terrify. And once we'd gone through the opera, he essentially asked us to invert all of the intentions. So we inverted the verbs and wrote down the opposite verb. Now, having gotten into like negative harmony or something, it's interesting how similar this idea of polarity with intention can be. But I wrote down the verb to charm for that, because if you terrify, you can terrify someone with that line. That's kind of what you'd normally do. That's what I'd done in the first production was like, and the audience would be, but I charmed.
Oh, and then he said, like, he made a statement like, "Hey, this is what I did here," and then the audience reacted that way. That is. It might be back. There we go. Cool. It resumed. Sorry about that, guys. Had some drop frames. My internet is terrible. So, Let's keep going. Thank you all for being patient.
I genuinely, completely and utterly charmed the governess. I said, "'Twas I who blew it. 'Twas me. It was me. I did it." And what that presented was not the opposite intention.
Yes, that is abstract. What that presented is not the opposite intention.
But this, like, dreadful undertone of the original intention. This undercurrent was felt by the audience. It's like, what's going on here? It's like adding a dimension to the emotional delivery of that line. Because all of Britain's harmony there is so...
Ooh, I could argue SI&E pretty hard with that. Talking about the experience, talking about like the hidden intention, etc. Very interesting approach. Very, very interesting approach. I can kind of see how people are like, this guy might be like an INTP, just not really seeing it.
It's like Britain is amazing at being very, very pure and very dark simultaneously. So it was both of those things. It was very pure and very dark. And there's this charming boy singing this dreadful line. And my brain just exploded at this discovery, because it was as though someone had added a dimension to my brain. All this stuff can happen underneath the surface of something, and it matters. Like, it's not invisible. It actually makes a difference to the nature of the thing. Like with negative harmony, I guess, it's not that every line was inverted. It's that the lines that were inverted had such a presence about them that they came across with all this like emotional resonance, you know. And I'd say these lines and they'd be flip, and then she'd replied to that being reassured. Like, she was reassured by the thing I said that was charming. And that has so many more emotional dimensions for the audience to enjoy. And what the audience can then do.
For the audience to enjoy. That's what the audience is getting out of it. So that's for sure a, let's see here. Hopefully you guys can see the whiteboard. And okay, that was actually an interest statement. About time. About time. Got some interest based there. Let's see. Go on.
Do is climb up and down this ladder of what do they mean here, and what's implied, and what's actually there already in that story, which is a Henry James novel called The Turn of the Screw. There's all this climax in the solo. Am I going to play? You know, I'm going to get to that bit where I play a really high note and it's really loud. Like it's better. Repertoire as a human being, I think. One very concrete example would be in soccer, or we'd say football. If you take a penalty, if you look left and shoot left, right, base level 1, like no bluffs. If you look like...
Yeah, it's very direct and very movement. So they're editing out each of the questions they're asking them. But yeah, I'm gonna call it. Jacob Collier is definitely an INFJ, a very brilliant one at that matter. That's how powerful TI Child can get for sure. So cool, INFJ. I'm impressed to have my mind changed midway through, but all it took was changing up the video there, bring it to more of an introverted setting instead of having multiple people surrounding him where he's demonstrating. He changed his behavior with one. So we'll move on to the next super chat. So my whiteboard gone? Shouldn't be. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Let's go to my whiteboard here. Yeah. It's like the whiteboard got messed up. So at the very top, okay, let's do add screen capture, window capture, and then do the whiteboard at the top. There we go. And we'll have that here. And let's see, get rid of your aspect ratio. This is me editing the stream on the fly as I try to do this here for you guys. There you go. Awesome. Got it fixed. Cool. Yes, I can actually fix things on the fly now. That's different. Alright, cool. So get to that, get to that. And what is the next one? Let's see here. Norm MacDonald. Norm MacDonald on God. Okay, Norm MacDonald on God. We'll do Norm MacDonald. Norm MacDonald on God. Okay. On identity, politics, and God. Okay.
I find like some things are too. I have some beliefs that are too inflammatory to even discuss, unfortunately.
Because of the way they'll be taken.
Because there are certain things in society that you're not allowed to believe or speak publicly. And so I'll just never say them. I'll just leave them in my little head. But mostly, I find all these things ridiculous, and I hate that we forced people into. First of all, I hate that we force people into identifying themselves by little tiny. Because we oppress people, we further oppress them by forcing them to identify themselves as what I consider less than human. So if someone says, I am proud to be black, I go, that's too bad for that guy, because it's a retarded thing to be proud of. We see it with white power. If someone says, I'm proud to be white, we see how ridiculous that sounds. But we don't see it when a person says, because they've been oppressed, I'm proud to be black. But it is ridiculous. We've pushed them into a corner where now they're going to spend their whole life identifying themselves by the pigment of their skin, which is a sad waste of life. Or if you say, I'm proud to be gay, that's what I am, and that's how I'll live my life. Well, boy.
So he's talking about like identity politics, etc., and basically TIFE saying that these people shouldn't be valuing this, which makes a lot of sense. He's being very pragmatic in his approach, not very affiliative whatsoever. It's all about being pragmatic there. And he's also talking about the best way of doing things, not so much what people are getting out of it, what he's getting out. So that's a very systematic approach as well. So Shadow Quick said he could be an ESTP. There's a good chance that ESTP, INTP is also on the table for this guy. So for sure. Let's do that as well. No, I'm not really seeing the affiliative, but we'll verify. I have another
From his time at Saturday
here.
Night Live to his years of stand-up and sitcom appearances, Norm Macdonald. Actually, you haven't been on yet.
On what?
On HuffPost Live yet.
Yeah, I've never been on.
Well,
I don't live in New York City. And
I know. It's no excuse. Just fly in for it.
That's true. No, I love HuffPost Live. I see it all the time.
Good.
Just in clips. When I found out it was a half hour, I was kind of shocked because
You thought I was just going to do 90 seconds with you and just nail exactly what I need to know.
Yeah, that's what I thought your skill was.
What's it like to be a judge of other comics rather than performing yourself?
Well, I'm very judgmental, so it suits my skill sets perfectly.
Very direct. Very direct. Choosing his role in the conversation. Very control. So we'll see how that goes.
You know that saying, judge not lest you be judged?
Uh-huh.
I think it may have been Jesus Christ of Nazareth, I'm not sure.
I think that's correct. Of Nazareth, not the other one.
Yeah, not Jesus H. Christ.
No.
But I disagree. I think, you judge.
Judge away.
Yeah, judge all you can. And I also want to be a judge because,
I disagree. Judge all you can. It's a very pragmatic point of view, for sure. And very, very pragmatic. I could almost argue very concrete, but not quite. Very direct as well. So let's keep going.
I mean, I wanted to be a proper judge, where I have a man's life in my hands. But in this thing, you just get to say, you're not funny. Who told you were funny? Seriously, some of these...
You're not funny. Who told you were funny? Okay, that's SENI. That's also TIFE, the value statement of funny. But it's like, hey, who told you that? Who did this? Why are you that way? Etc. It's very SE, very control, very outcome focused, direct initiating control. TIFE, SENI, as near as we can tell. Definitely pragmatic for sure. Still keeps the pragmatism in there. What we have for systematic, that one little systematic could be like something from a cognitive transition. But it looks like he's STP NFJ Quadra. This would mark him down as an ESTP. But for the heck of it, let's just actually verify against ENTJ just in case. So let's just keep going.
People, I swear to God.
Because people think like ESTPs are Trump, right? When Trump is an ENTJ.
I can't imagine him even being the funniest person in a room, let alone a professional comedian. And I was thinking, like, who was it that told you were funny? Because that person, you know, owes you a lot of money because you're following a dream that's impossible to catch.
Maybe after judging whether the comics are good, you could then... Interested in the law? Was that ever a thing?
No, I was just interested in being a judge.
You know, you have to learn the law to be a judge.
Well, no, I always...
Judges don't just act on whims, they have, unless they're on the Supreme Court. But
I always
then,
thought to just say to a guy, like, okay, it's come time for your penalty phase. You get life or death. I always thought those were funny. Those
Life or death, talking about that choice, that's actually a very interest point of view. He's also very concrete. So he's definitely an SP type. We know that he's STP NFJ Quadra, ergo Norm Macdonald is an ESTP. So well done to those in the audience. He's like ESTP. And Trump is an ENTJ. Thank you. That SE child is very, very blatant in trying to explain things to things, whereas Norm Macdonald is an ESTP. Go compare the two of them and find out for yourself. I recommend that. First episode of season 20 here on this YouTube channel. Just go to the playlist, season 20. You will see that he is, in fact, an ENTJ. So, Norm is a TI user. Well, I mean, some ENTJs are greedy. Some of them are not. Watch the Virtue and Vice lecture for ENTJs to know the difference. So, awesome. Great, folks. Thanks for coming. That's it for everyone tonight. Sorry about the dropped frames with the stream. I'm glad that I was able to hold on. See if I can actually maybe adjust my internet a little bit. But thank you all for coming. And please look out for How to Social Engineer INTPs. It is the next lecture to drop. And also, I do have a calendar and a schedule posted on the website. I'm going to be adhering to it as best as I can in the future. And since we have this new setup, I'm going to be using the electronic whiteboard from now on. And then as a result of that, I'll basically be able to print lectures and all my outlines super quick, and lectures are going to be coming out a lot faster, especially since I won't have to render now, given that recording will be done through XSplit, which is amazing. So anyway, folks, thank you all for coming, and I'm glad to be back, and I expect to be back moving forward. So with that being said, folks, you all have a good night, and I'll see you guys on Thursday for the next stream, unless, of course, I do Who Triggered CSJ tomorrow. Then you'll see me tomorrow. So see y'all then, folks. Thanks for everything, and thanks for helping keep the lights on. Later.